that the census is due this year on April 1st? And guess what? This time we can finally count as Caribbean. This year, all you have to do is 1. Check the race box, and 2. Write in your country of birth or ancestry. You can answer by the paper form, online, or by phone. Everybody counts in Census 2020. So count as Caribbean. Yes, we count.
Hello, my friend Lacey J. Lacey J say, I am here. Lacey J, welcome to the ride. How you doing, Lacey J? Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Yes. Yes. How you doing, guys? Welcome to Ridealong. Welcome to Hump Day, Wednesday on the ride. And I want to introduce you guys to a new kind of Wednesday, right? Now, on Wednesday going forward, right? We're going to have this type of programming specifically designed to update everyone on what's happening, what's the latest happening as it relates to immigration. It could be immigration here in the US, immigration, just what impact immigration have. And we're going to be giving you education and information. We call it Immigration 101, all right? And get used to it, because my little sister, as I call her, she'll be joining me here every Wednesday, guys. It's going to be real information, very, very important information, right? So that's what Home Day is going to look like here on the Ride Along. Get used to it, right? So guys, right now, what I want you to do is go ahead and invite your friends, invite everybody that you know may have questions as it relates to immigration. All right, go ahead and do it right now. And as you while you're at it, while you're inviting them, share the program. Say I share. All right. Who they? Nafisia Evans. Nafisia, I don't like how you just cut us off sometimes. You must come and visit us a little more frequently and thing. All right. Big up yourself, Nafisia Evans. Who else we have? Kibbs. Kibbs, how you doing? Kibbs is a champion. Big up yourself, Kibbs. Who else we have? Samasha Sanders Claus. How you doing, Samasha Sanders Claus? Welcome to the ride. Let me make this sticky on my page right here, so everybody can get a chance to see it. Yes. Who else we have? Guys, the keyword is I share. The keyword is I share. Nafisia, listen. This is important for everybody, you know, because although you don't live in the United States here, we're going to be talking about visas. We're going to be talking about getting married. We're going to talking about all this stuff. So even if you don't reside in the US, this information is good information for you. All right? Okay? All right. I share, Samasha. Thank you so much. Batiste. Clintia Batiste. Wow. Clintia Batiste. I think I know Clintia Batiste. I think we went to school together. Is that the same Clintia Batiste? Sonia McKee John, thank you so much. How are you doing? Welcome. Thank you so much. Mo Franklin, thank you so much, Mo Franklin. We appreciate you so much. Yes. Let me start this watch party over here one more time. Let me start it one more time, guys, as you guys go ahead and share. Rochelle, big up yourself, Rochelle. How are you doing, Rochelle? Thanks for coming and visit us today. One more. Yes. There we go. All right. Where's Ayadel? Alexis, how you doing? Big up yourself. Welcome to the ride. Thank you so much, Alexis. Katian Modest Blackman, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. Guys, as I told you, today is Home Day, and it's geared, we'll probably call it Immigration Fun Day. Welcome, my guest.
I actually like that, Junior.
Yeah, you like that? I know you like
Immigration Fun Day. Let's put some fun in immigration, because I feel like it's not as fun anymore. So let's put some fun in it.
Immigration Fun Day.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Leave it to you, Junior.
Yes, yes. I told you, I take care of business, I take care of business.
Leave it to you.
Beyond Winter Fun Day, how are you doing today, ma'am?
I am doing well. It was 110 degrees in Florida. So yes, afternoon today was brutally hot.
Yes,
Brutally
yes.
hot. So
I hope people, although it's getting hot and summer is kicking in, I hope people don't forget that we're still in the middle of a pandemic.
I agree. I know our beaches have started to reopen. Some restaurants have reopened. So we're going through the phase one, as they call it, reopening, and the numbers are going up. So I am encouraging everybody to stay home until we get this thing sorted.
Yeah. Lacey J says, well, this one looking nice, beautiful smile.
Hey, Miss Lacey, thank you.
Lacey J never give anybody a compliment.
Lacey, you my new friend.
You see that Lacey J right there? She never give anybody. I've been on the show for how much years now? Lacey J never even said one nice thing to me. Not even one nice thing to me. You
gotta smile more, Junior.
Yeah. But you see, the thing about it is when I don't want them to think like I'm a punk, I'm a hardcore at it. I'm gonna dive it in. I'm gonna get the information in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So me and Lacey J always fighting.
Well, thank you, Miss Lacey.
But she's always a sweetheart. I don't know why my eye's burning me like that. Does it mean like when your eye burning you like that you're gonna get money?
Yes.
It does. I have a feeling. Because my eye is just watering and it's burning me. So hopefully it's a good thing. All right. So Immigration Fun Day. I don't know if this is fun to talk about right now, but let's talk about what is new with President Trump and his new initiative, his new plans for immigrants here in the U.S. What's the latest going through this Trump administration and immigration?
All right, so we can go as far back as the latest, the two Supreme Court cases that we just came out of. We had the LGBT case, and then we also had the DACA case. Both were favorable for advancing human rights. On the heels of that, we see the president saying, you know what, I'm putting a stop to this. If you recall, Junior, a couple months back, we talked about the restrictions on immigration that the president had put in place.
Right.
He was restricting some of those visas the green card holders coming from the Caribbean or outside of the country. What the president has done, he's extended that 60-day all the way now through December. And he's added to that list our employees. Those are our H-1Bs, our seasonal worker, our H-2Bs. So if you already have those visas, you can still come into the country for work. What he's restricting is the issuance of new visas or Ls, our H-2Bs, which we have a lot of H-2Bs coming out of the Caribbean for the hospitality industry. Our Ls are now included and our H-1Bs. So all of those are now included where they cannot be issued these visas to come to the United States to work. And the president, I'm not supporting what he's saying, but his justification is, look, we've lost 1 million or more jobs during the coronavirus pandemic. He wants to protect the working class people of the United States. So those individuals that typically come in, because companies recruit these employees, they recruit from the Caribbean, they recruit from Asia, they recruit from the continent. So he's saying he wants to preserve those jobs for American citizens.
Okay, all right. That's what he says.
That's what he says.
I know we did a video on DACA, a short video on DACA. And it's important that folks understand that this is also new. This is something that everyone should understand. I want you to just touch a little bit on DACA. I know that's not going to be the forefront of the conversation today. Touch a little bit on DACA and what the Supreme Court did and what did they actually prevented during last week Supreme Court hearing.
All right. For those that are not familiar, DACA is a deferred action for childhood arrivals. It protects those individuals that were brought into the United States as children,
Right.
meaning mommy was coming, mommy grabbed Junior and said, "You know what, we're going for a better life." Or mommy probably sent Junior with auntie, or mommy probably sent Junior with somebody who came across the border. The idea behind DACA, and this was enacted under then President Obama, and we're talking about back in 2013. And he
Mhm.
said, look, we will not take any action against these individuals, who in most cases, a lot of them are now adults. We will not take any action, meaning we will not move them through the immigration process towards deportation, because a lot of them still do not have status. What DACA did was to protect or put a bubble around these individuals to protect them from deportation. In addition, it provided for these individuals work authorization and social security numbers, so they
Mhm.
could go to school. They are paramedics. They are, some of them are lawyers. So all of these, they have no green card. DACA is not a pathway to green card or to citizenship, but it's a protection. President Trump, when he came into office, says he wanted to put an end to DACA, hence the DACA litigation. It finally, the case made its way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says no. They didn't say no, DACA was good. What they said was the justification the president gave was wrong, so no dice. So DACA continues. I've continued now to submit renewals. I encourage anybody, if they qualify for DACA, to go ahead and submit those renewals or those applications. For information on whether you qualify, USCIS.gov will have that information for you. But
Mhm.
DACA still stands, and it's a big win for the immigrant community. That was a
Yeah.
big win.
So you're saying that DACA is not a pathway to citizenship or your green
No,
card. You can't travel. You won't be able
no,
to travel.
no.
You just work. You just a social security and work authorization.
And you could go to school. You could go to school. You won't be eligible for some of the federal funds,
Right.
grants, but you can go to school. You can work. You can purchase a home. A lot of things you can do that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to do. You cannot travel. It's not as if you have DACA for 10 years and you get a green card. That is not how it works. You simply renew the DACA for 2 years, every 2 years.
Right. What one other question about DACA. What if you are in the DACA program and you then get married? Would that upgrade? Would that be a faster process? Would it speed up the process of you getting your green card?
Yes, because that's a different, now you'll have a wife who can petition for you, and you can now be on your pathway to United States citizenship.
Right. So Kip just asked a question there, guys. Again, today. We're talking about the eligibility requirement for a green card, but we just wanted to just give you what's hot in immigration, and then we're gonna go on and talk about the eligibility and the application process. All right. Kip asked a question here about the cost of the renewal.
For DACA, it's
Yeah.
about I think 495.
Okay.
It's not a lot. Well, it's in some cases, but compared to some other immigration fees, USCIS.gov/fees, you put in the 821 form and it will tell you, I think it's at 495 for the renewal.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna we could post that information at the bottom of the page as well, Gibbs, about that. All right. So let's talk about eligibility. We're gonna get into it today, talking about the green card and the eligibility requirements for your green card. First and foremost, for people who don't know, what is a green card?
I thought I had my dad with me. My dad has a green card, so I use it a lot. I show the back. It's not green.
Right.
It's gone through many phases. The card is now pink. And what the green card does, it shows that you have lawful permanent residence. You're not a citizen of the US. It means you can do a lot of things, but you cannot vote. You cannot hold federal employment. Those are reserved for United States citizens. So the green card essentially is a little pink card, but the bigger thing is the status it gives you. It says, look, you're a lawful permanent resident of the United States. You can travel, you can work, you can live, you can play, but there's a little basket over here that you can't participate in. That is voting. You can't hold federal employments. And there's some other things that you cannot do because you're a lawful permanent resident.
So that's the green card. Now, who is eligible for a green card and who is not eligible for a green card?
Well, let's start by saying everybody's eligible for a green card, right? But it depends on, you know, how long you've lived in the United States, how you've entered, whether you're living outside of the United States. So it really depends where you are. But any individual is eligible so long as they have somebody, whether it's an employer who can petition, whether it's a family who can petition, or whether they can self-petition for themselves. So you have to figure out which category do you fall into, but you always need some kind of, you need somebody to be able to petition for you.
Right. So someone that's in the Caribbean right now, you're sitting in the Caribbean and you want to get a green card. What are the first steps, or what are the steps that they might need to do to ensure that they be eligible to receive a green card?
So I would say to that person, do they have a parent, spouse, or child living in the United States that can petition for them? In the Caribbean, we say, who are going to file for you? Who's going to file for you? So I would say to them, do you have a parent, a spouse, or a child, or an employer who can petition for you? Also in the Caribbean, I can say, look, if you've been harmed, if you're taking part in politics and you've been harmed, then we can look to asylum. So it really depends on me talking to that individual and say, where am I going to fit you? What category am I going to fit you in? So you can go start the pathway into getting lawful permanent resident.
Kibby Joseph is asking, are green card holders restricted on the time period that they could spend outside of the United States?
Absolutely. That's one of the baskets. That's one of the differences between citizens and green card holders.
Right.
There are two time frames that I ask every single green card holder to write down. Once you get that physical green card, there's a 6-month time frame and there is a 12-month time frame.
Right.
When we're talking about becoming a citizen, the law says you have to live in the United States for 5 years. You must have had your green card for 5 years, and you must spend half of that 5 years physically present within the United States. If somebody has a green card, Junior, and they go home for Carnival in Trinidad and they decide to stay there for 7 months, they have broken continuous residency in the United States. So their clock for naturalization. Now we're not taking their green card. They have done nothing wrong. Right. What they have done is they've broken continuous residency. So their clock for their 5-year starts from day one. So if they were 3 years in and they stayed out of the country for 5 years, then the clock starts over. The next time frame is the 1-year time frame. If you are, and I say if you are a green card holder and you stay outside of the United States for more than a year, 12 months or more, the perception is that you've abandoned your residency. In other words, you say, you know what, the green card, you've abandoned your residency, and they can physically take that green card away from you and place you in removal. Remember, simply because they take your green card doesn't mean the status is gone. It means they're now starting the process of taking that green card away from you. Only an immigration judge can take that green card. So physically they'll take it and place you in removal proceeding. If you're outside of the country when that happens, because CBP might not let you back in. When you go to land, they'll turn you around and send you back home, or they'll place you in removal.
All right, let me just bring everyone up to speed. Guys, today, Immigration Fund Day, we're talking about What's the latest immigration? Today we're dealing specifically with green card, your eligibility requirements to obtain a green card. Now, a lot of people might be saying, oh, well, I'm in the Caribbean. I don't need to know about a green card. I don't want to know about a green card. Yes, you do, because you possibly have friends who live in here in the United States that do not have a green card. So whenever you hear they're talking about also they might get deported or they're afraid to go out or they nobody there to file for them, they're basically talking about the fact that they don't have a green card. No one filed for them. They're living out of status, right? So we're going to talk about how you could move from being out of status to get into status. What are the eligibility requirements? So that's where we are. And I want you guys to share this program right this minute, because this is information that everyone needs to know, especially if you're living here in the United States. It's very, very important. And again, we're going to give you a chance to call in and ask your question in the latter part of the program. So that's where we are right now. All right. Someone was asking, as it relates to the eligibility, because that's what we're talking about right now. If you are in the Caribbean and say you fell in love with someone came to visit for Carnival, or you have a nice little wine and the thing nice, or they decide to get married. There's love. It's love. It's genuine love. How could that person obtain a green card, obtain residence to travel to the United States to start a family in the US with that newfound love?
Yes. So marriage-based green card is one of the most common ways, one of the fastest ways that we can move from non-US citizen, non-lawful permanent, non-green card holder to green card holder. So the process looks different, because if you're in the Caribbean, you've met this person only once. So you have two options of immigrating. You can either immigrate on a fiancé visa. So the person would come back to the United States, and I'm going to assume they are a United States citizen, Junior, for purposes of this conversation.
Right.
So they would then come back to the United States. They can file what we call a fiancé visa for you. That visa gets you out of the Caribbean physically into the United States. Doesn't get you a green card. It's just that visa to get you out of the Caribbean to the United States. And you have 90 days to marry the person you met at the carnival. If you remember the show 90 Day Fiancé, that means it's because as soon as you land with your fiancé visa, your promise to the government is, look, I need this visa so I can come to the United States to marry my spouse. Once you get married, then the process will look familiar. You will file for your adjustment of status. You will need to show the service that this is a bona fide marriage, meaning this wasn't just for the green card. I married him. We're going to start a family. We're going to buy a home together. We're going to live together. We're pooling our finances together. We're pooling all our resources. And so you start the application process stateside. Option B, if you don't want to go the fiancé visa route, you can have Mr. Carnival file for you here in the United States.
Carnival, fun day.
Mr. Carnival, listen. You can have
Mr. Wine Up in the Carnival.
You can have Mr. Wine Up in the Carnival file for you here, and then you're processed at the consular post in your home country. These interviews are like very, very strict. They want to know how you met, because come on, you've met the guy once, now you're married, or you've met the person twice and now you're married. So these interviews are highly scrutinized.
How long it takes to fall in love with someone? You met them, the wine is nice, you got a nice little wine, you're like, yo, I'll marry you. This is love. This is love. This is freaking love. I can't see it no other way. This wine shows me that we're in love.
Well, prove it. Prove it to the service. Prove that when you went to the carnival, you weren't married to Johnny over here and you were just at the carnival. So you went home, got divorced, and now you're married to a US citizen. So a lot of this will be based on documentation. How do you communicate? Are you texting on WhatsApp? I've used WhatsApp messages. I've used video chats to prove that, look, they communicate every morning. They text each other. They're sending funds back and forth, not just one way, back and forth. He's gone back to visit. He's met mom. He's met dad. So all of this to show that the marriage is bona fide.
So the wine alone is not enough. You have to prove everything. You have to prove, well, this is genuine.
Yes. You
right?
have to, yes, you have
What
to.
if the person, I know you said that for the purpose of the conversation, you're gonna assume that the person is a US citizen.
Mhm.
Let's assume that the person is not a US citizen. That person is a green card holder. But the wine's still nice, all you still fall in love, and all you plan
Mhm.
to get married. What are
Yeah.
the problems there?
The process is going to take a little bit longer. So the green card holder can still marry, can still petition for a spouse. The process is going to take a little longer. If the person is within the United States and they are undocumented, meaning they came on a visa, the visa is expired, they cannot adjust their status within the United States if that spouse only has a green card.
Uh-huh.
Right? They will have to do what we call a waiver, go back home, and then be processed there. If they're already outside the United States, then the process will look the same. It just means they're further down in the line. Keep in mind, when you marry a US citizen, there is a green card with your name on it.
Ah.
That's how quickly this can be done. It's just the processing time that holds things up. When you marry a green card holder, there's allotments. There's X green card. There's X number of green cards in certain categories. And when the government runs out, the government runs out. You have to move to the next year. So I get a lot of calls from people. Oh, I got my approval. Like
Right.
mommy filed for me and I got my approval. This was back in 2015.
Right.
But listen, you're a married child of a green card holder. You're way down the line. So you have to wait every year to see if a number becomes available for you.
Oh, so you're
Or,
the line.
yes, that's where you stay in line based on your category, based on who filed for you.
Interesting stuff. It's good to know. So could a parent, I know we're speaking about married and we're talking about eligibility here. Could a parent file for a child?
Yes, a parent, green card, or citizen can file for a child.
Right.
Now, be careful because immigration defines child as unmarried and under 21.
Mm.
So when you get married,
Mm-hmm.
that puts you a little bit further down the line now because you're not so much of a child. Does that make sense? So
Yes,
yes,
I do.
mom can file, but I always tell my youngsters that are like 21, 22, 23, I said, don't get married. Because if you were to get married, it takes you out of that preference it moves you to a whole other category in the immigration line. So yes, a parent can file for a child.
All right, here's another one. Immigration fun day. We're having fun, but this is an important question. Now, marriage
Yeah.
is described as a union. I don't know if it's on the federal books as a union between a man and a woman. What if we have a lesbian couple that got married? Could that lesbian relationship go in and file for the other party based on, so it's marriage, but I don't know if the federal assume it as a marriage. But in other words, could a lesbian couple file for each other?
Yeah. And I'll say same sex couple, Junior, because it can be male or female.
Right,
So
same
under
sex.
DOMA, for immigration, we have DOMA, which is the law that gives the right to same sex couples to petition for each other. So marriage as defined by DOMA or immigration law can be same sex couples. So everything we're talking about as it relates to one spouse petitioning for the other applies to same-sex couples. They are protected. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And the same rule applies. Like they have to show that the marriage. So even Mr. Carnival from our hypo went to Trinidad and met a young man. He will have to show the same thing, that the marriage is bona fide and it's been entered into for the right reasons.
Guys, we're talking about immigration, eligibility requirements for immigration. It's important that we know how to become eligible to receive your green card right here in the United States. And we're going to be doing this program to give everyone that information. So I don't want anybody to say we need to do more immigration show. You ask for it, we have it. So I want you now to share it with your family, share it to your friends, share it to people who know it, and let them know that every Wednesday, that's what we're going to be speaking about right here on the program. All right. Green card, visas, eligibility. What are we leaving out? What situation job. What if you have money, you have cash, and you want to now invest it? You want to take that cash and create a business enterprise here in the United States, or you want to move a business here in the United States. Could you get a green card based on economics and the fact that you have a lot of money and you want to bring it here?
I am so happy that you're asking this question, Junior. I think a lot of times us Caribbean people, we lean heavily towards, make mommy file for me or make the husband file for me. And we don't think a lot about investing in the United States.
Right.
Investing in the United States is a viable option. To answer your question, the short of it, can I get a green card through investment? The answer is yes.
Wow.
I think as it stands, it's at $1 million. It is at $1 million for the investment. So if you want to invest $1 million, it leads to a green card. Less than $1 million, say you want to invest $500,000, then you can do that through a regional center. So you're not getting the green card right away. You're going to pool your resources. So say you have 500,000, I have 500,000. We invest that with a regional center in the United States, and then they will do the investing for us. And that ultimately can lead to a green card down the road in 3-4 years. Whereas when you invest the $1 million, then the green card happens a lot faster. There are lots of other investment options below $500,000. You can invest in a business and get work authorization. You can open up, if you're running a business in the Caribbean and you want to open up an office here in the United States, then certainly those are some options as well, not for a green card, but for you to work. You can get the permission to work here in the United States.
Yes. Okay, good. Here's another situation. Here's another scenario, guys. And I know you have scenarios too, guys. So just save it for the next 10 minutes. We're going to take your next 15 minutes. We're going to take your call. You are in the Caribbean, and there is a job opportunity that exists in the United States, and they're looking to hire you, bring you up from the Caribbean to work for them. What do you need to have, and what type of filing do they need to do to get you up from the Caribbean into the US to work for them?
All right, so it depends how there are lots of options for Caribbean people to migrate on these employment visas. So the first thing I would look to are your skills and qualifications. There's H-1B for or more skilled workers, or PhDs, or doctors, or tech workers. Those individuals that have your master's degree, those would go under the H-1B status. It is a lottery. So every year you have to wait, because only X amount of H-1Bs are issued. And this is one of the areas where the president has just placed a restriction on these employment categories. So you have to enter your name into this lottery. I always encourage individuals to see if they can find an employer. There are some people that they will be recruited for their skills, like or tech savvy people. They'll be recruited naturally for what they're bringing to the table. If you can find an employer who's willing to sponsor you, just like how a parent sponsors you, the employer will be the one who will sponsor you. And your qualifications will have to show. Those are the H-1B or skilled workers. We also have a category, the J-1. Those are for our teachers or intercultural exchange. So you're coming to the United States to teach or to work in some kind of cultural exchange program, and the idea is that you will return home after you've taught. We also have our H-2B seasonals. A lot of those people recruit. Think of it, Junior, as our farm workers, or hospitality industry, those who work in the hotels, restaurants. Those people will recruit. They'll have agencies within the Caribbean that recruit. The L's, oh my God, there's so many visas. We could go into the L's. Those are intra-company transfers. So if you work for a company in the Caribbean and they have an office here, you can be transferred within that company and you can live and work in the United States for a duration of time. Most of those categories that I have mentioned do not lead to a green card. It is more of employment based. And the idea is that after you have served whatever time within the United States, then you will return home.
All right. So let's talk about that application. because
Yeah.
I got a chance. Well, we got the application right here, and I want to go through the application a bit with you because there are some people that when they see this immigration document, they get fluttered. They don't know what to do. Give us a run through about this application that we have on the screen right
All
now.
right.
What is the
So
application?
I think the one you pulled up, Junior, is for the naturalization application. You want me to send you the I-130 because we've been talking about the green card. You want us to look at the I-130 or you want us to look at this one? Which one do you want us to look at?
Did you send the I-130 to me as well?
Not yet. I can do it right now.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. So, guys, in the meantime, let me tell you this that you're watching Ride Along Live, and we're talking about immigration. We're talking about immigration, and we're going to be doing this on Wednesday because it's important that we get this information out to the community. People that are in the United States, there are millions of people that reside in the United States, and they're undocumented. Not that they cannot get documented, but a lot of times they don't know how to get documented. They are not sure what the process is. Send it to me on WhatsApp. It'll be easier if possible.
Okay, I can.
Yeah, they're not sure of the process of getting their green card. So these series of programs would allow for people to understand what's the process and how they go about getting their green card. All right. Next week we're going to talk about green card as well, but a different sector of it. But we want to take it. We want to take it step by step and give everybody a chronological order of how to do it. This information hopefully would get more people informed, and so they could be documented, and they don't have to run from ICE every time they see a ICE van pull up, or scared to take the kids to school, or scared to go to the hospital, because they would have the documents. They will be able to travel, or at least they will be able to work. While I get the document, Dion, I want you to talk about. I'm gonna get this document together. I want you to talk about folks who could self-petition. And the what's the term when you file in for abuse? Talk a little bit about it, and
Okay.
I'm going to go to the file.
All right. So we want to talk about self-petitioning. You can file for yourself under two categories. Either you've been abused by a US citizen, or you've been abused by someone within the United States, and you were married to that individual. So the VAWA self-petition, say, for example, I was married to John Doe, he abused me, or you were married to Jane Doe and she abused you. You can also petition for yourself. You don't need John Doe or Jane Doe to petition for you. Certainly, you'll have to prove that a bona fide relationship existed. So the abuse can even happen from a parent. But you have to prove the relationship, prove that you were married to John Doe or Jane Doe, and that a bona fide relationship existed. When we say bona fide relationship, we are talking about living together as husband and wife, and that you weren't living in point A and he was living in point B. You can petition for yourself without needing John Doe to petition for you. If you are a PhD candidate, you can also do a self-petition. So outside of the VAWA petition, you can also do a self-petition if you have a PhD. So certainly there are lots of areas where you can find some leeway in petitioning the government without having someone sponsoring or petitioning you. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Could a child, an underage child, file for his mother or father?
The answer is no. For a child to petition for a parent or petition for anybody, they must be 21 years or above.
Okay. All right. So I got the application up right now. I got the I-130 petition. Mm-hmm. Tell us about this particular application and why is this necessary? Why do we use this application?
Yes. All right. So this is the petition, or this is the form that anyone who is filing for somebody will need to complete. They're essentially saying to the government, look, this is my parent, this is my spouse, or this is my child, and I want to bring them to the United States to come and live with me. So if we thought about Mr. Carnival, he would come back into the United States. And if he married the young person or the individual he met in Trinidad, he would need to fill out this application form in order to say to the government, I want to show that I'm married to this person. Or a parent would say, I want to show this is my child. Or a child will say, I want to show this is my parent. This is one of the backbone hallmarks of immigration. You cannot start any petition family-based without your I-130 application.
Right. So at the top there, it says for USCIS only, it says about the A number. What would be your A number at the top?
So at the top, it talks about the A number. That is, everybody has what we call an alien registration number. For some people, for this part of the form, it says for USCIS only. So if you do not, this part you would not fill out, because a lot of times if I'm living in the Caribbean, a number have not been assigned to me yet. The A number is a number that immigration will assign to you. It will go on your card. You will use that to identify yourself. Junior, it's similar to your green card, to your social security number.
Okay.
It follows you from day one all the way to your grave. You will not be assigned another A number.
Right. So the second part of that I-130 petition, it says to be completed by an attorney or accredited representative. That's the second portion of that. It asks about, well, I guess just validate who the attorney or the person that's filling out the application, so you don't start there.
And let me add, Junior. It says, if any, these application forms can be completed by individuals. You know, if you're savvy enough, you know, you can kind of fill this out yourself. You don't necessarily, I recommend using an attorney for obvious reasons, so you don't make a lot of errors.
Right.
But this can be completed by yourself.
Okay, so you could do this for yourself.
Yes.
All right. So you start filling out the form at, I guess, at the third section where it says part 1, relationship. You are part 1, you are the petitioner, your relative is the beneficiary. Talk to us about this section of the application.
All right. So scroll down. You can scroll down. So in every application, we need a petitioner as it pertains to a family-based immigration. The petitioner is either going to be the mom, the parent, or the spouse, or the child. So who is the U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident? They are the petitioner. The beneficiary is who is going to get this benefit. Who are you filing for? You're filing for your daughter. They are the beneficiary. And I want you to look at this form as data collection. They're collecting information about you and about the beneficiary.
Okay. All right. All right. Good. All right. Going further down. What are some of the things? Just give us some of the highlights of this application, which is absolutely necessary, that you shouldn't mess up at all.
All right. For this application, fill out every single box. If a box does not apply to you, put not applicable. So go through and you fill every tab out. The highlights are documents. What are going to be your supporting documents? In the case of a marriage, it would be the marriage certificate. In the case of a child, it would be the birth certificate. I will say to most people from the Caribbean, if you're a male filing for a child in the Caribbean and your name is not on that child's birth certificate, more than likely, they're going to ask you to do a DNA test to make sure that there's that biological relationship. So those are some qualifying documents that you will need. In addition, you'll also have to show, if this is marriage-based, you'll have to attach a lot of documents to show that you know this person, this is a bona fide relationship, where does this person live? How do you have to use a lot of supporting documents. And like Cynthia McMillan says, no empty space. If it does not apply to you, I want you to put not applicable.
All right. All right. I mean, the information on that application, it seems I'm just looking through it. Information about your parents. He asks about your parents. Information about you. Information about the petitioner. Information about the beneficiary. Biographic information.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like your
they
height.
yeah,
Mhm.
those information need to be filled out as well. Is there anything else on this particular application that we need to pay special attention to?
So for my people who live here, like that came here on a B1, B2 application, and now somebody's completing this application for them, I want you to cross-check your B1, B2 application. A lot of areas we come into problem with is the information does not match. So you
Uh-huh.
came in on a visitor's visa. You now have somebody petitioning for you. When you go for that interview based on this document, the information has to match that original application. So if you had checked married on your B1, B2 application, and then now you're checking you've only been married one time, you
Uh-huh.
should have had two marriages on this application if it's not your husband on the visitor's application that's petitioning for you. So you want to make sure that all the information you're giving immigration stays consistent. You will only have one immigration file. So when you move from B1, B2 visa, you move to I-130 with adjustment, they're going to compare all the information you've submitted to immigration.
So it's very important that you're consistent with your information.
Yes.
No empty spaces. I thought that there was some areas of this application, correct me if I'm wrong, that ask about your previous travel history.
That would be the naturalization application. So
Okay, that's
if you're going for naturalization, then yes, it will they will want to see your travel history. So when we do the segment on naturalization, Junior, we're going
right.
to go through what they're looking for. So I'll keep that in mind so we can cover that when we're doing naturalization.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Again, guys, this is important information. This is what we're looking at right now is the form I-130 petition, I-130 application. Just tell everybody again why they need this application. Why is this application necessary?
So this is an application used if a parent, a spouse, or a child is sponsoring you, or as we say in the Caribbean, somebody have filed for me. So this is the first application they will present, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a parent, or whether it's a child someone over 21. They're getting ready to sponsor you or request that U.S. immigration grants you a green card. So this person is on the pathway to be granted a green card. So this is the first application that we'll use.
Right. After this application is filled up, what's the next step? Do a person just mail it into a specific area? What accompanying documents that need to be sent out with this application?
Okay. The beautiful thing about USCIS.gov is that on their website, they'll have an instructional page, and they'll also have you select the state where you live. The instructional page will literally list every document that is required with this petition. So you will be sending this form, but you're also going to send some additional documents with it. Listen to me carefully. Do not send any original documents. Photocopy everything. Hang on to your original documents until your interview or until this is ready to be processed. Once you send this in, and you will you go to uscis.gov, you choose your state where you reside, and it will tell you which service center to send your application to. You will send this in, and they will begin what we call processing of your application. So they're going to look at the data, make sure it's filled out correctly, make sure your documents look good, and they'll start putting together your file. And then you'll get what we call a priority date. So that is the date that immigration received your application. And that is the date where we know where in line do you stand. So they'll look at your category. Who is this? Mom filing for a child. Okay, let's put them in line over here. Or they'll say, look, husband filing for a wife, let's put them over here. And then you'll have that way to start tracking and checking your application.
It's important. It's important.
Yes.
Last question on the application process, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. Because it's what time fly when you're having fun. It's 6:48 already.
Yes.
Time really flies. What if the person has previous arrests or the law, drugs?
Those we call red flags. So one of the things, if you're filling out this application for your husband's filling it out for you, or mom is filling out for a child, and there's any arrest, we call those red flags. Not all arrest is an end, right? It depends on what you're arrested for. It also depends on what was the outcome. So if you were arrested, number one, I think you need to speak to an immigration attorney and find out if that arrest makes you inadmissible. Meaning, does that arrest mean I can't get my green card? Or you could say this arrest means I need a waiver. We have waivers for criminal acts. Or in some cases, it depends on the crime, that arrest might make you inadmissible to the United States permanently. Meaning depends on what your drug trafficking is frowned upon. So I would look at the kind of arrest. I would look at the arrest record. I would look at the court disposition, and then I'll make an analysis as to what's our best move based on that arrest.
All right, guys. The opportunity now to chime in. The phone lines are open at the moment. The number that you call 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Again, your opportunity to ask your question. Today we're dealing with eligibility requirement for a green card. We just went over almost all the areas of the I-130 application. And if you have any questions relating to this particular issue or visas, give us a call right now. Again, the number 718-701-5720. 718-701-5720. While we wait for a call, is there anything else that we really need to necessary that we tell our viewers in relation to the I-130 application?
Make sure it is signed and that you send the correct fees. Do not send it off without signing it. Make sure you look at the instructions carefully and make sure it's a signed document and it has all supporting documentation. Let me answer Jackie O. She said, educate the folks who don't know about their parents. If you don't know the name of your parent, where your parent lives, I would write a note. So I would put the question, I would put the page number, and I would say, I was adopted by my grandmother and I don't know who my mother is, or I don't know who my father is. So you just make a notation of the question on the application and then you explain why that you don't know who mom and dad is.
All right, we got a call on the line. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
I'm from Brooklyn. I have two questions.
Go ahead, caller, with your question.
Yeah, my first question, if you apply for your green card, right, you did not put any of your kids on your application, the original application. Let's say like you don't have enough money to file for everybody, so you just did for yourself, right? And later on you decide to file for your citizenship. Would that be a problem when you go for your citizenship? Or even if you do get a citizenship, do those kids automatically become a citizen once they're under 21, although they was not on the original application?
So it's that sounds like a two-part question. So let me answer the first part. If you apply for your green card, you're applying for your green card, even if you're not applying for your children, there's a part that talks about children. How many children do you have? If you fail to put that, it's considered deceiving the service. So when you go to apply for naturalization, you will have to explain, how is it on this application you said you had 0 children, and then all of a sudden on your naturalization application you have 2. That's going to speak to your moral character. Are you being honest? The second part of your question, if at some point your children got their green card and they're under 18 and you have acquired naturalization, you become a citizen while they're under 18, then they have what we call derivative citizenship. They automatically become citizens.
Okay. All right. My second question. All right. Let's say you are two same sex person got married, right? You filed for the green card, you got denied. Then you're walking down the road now, and let's say you meet Junior, and you decide you want to marry to Junior. So you divorce the same sex married now. You marry to Junior. How would you prove that point now to immigration that you filed before, saying that you are same sex, and all of a sudden now you no longer have same sex?
Well, all right,
Why are you naming the thing, man?
let's put it this way. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, sir. You're saying initially I was in a same-sex marriage. I was denied. Now I'm over here and I'm in a heterosexual relationship. The service is not going to question your sexual orientation. What the service is going to say is this person trying to get a green card by any means necessary? So that second marriage to Junior will be scrutinized. They're going to make sure that you're not hopping from marriage A to marriage B just to get a green card.
Okay.
All right, caller. Thank you so much. Caller, I don't know why you put me in your back canal. You know? You like to get me.
Oh, Junior.
Oh boy. Caller, you live. Caller, you live. Where you calling us from?
Hey, Junior. What's up, Solia?
Hey, how you doing?
Not bad at all.
Yeah. Go ahead. Ask a question.
I have a question for you, Tony.
Go ahead.
The thing is that my two kids are U.S. citizens, right?
Okay.
One 7 years old and one 9 months old. But they reside in Grenada.
Okay.
But the 7-year-old one, he has a little problem with his eyes, and I do have medical insurance. He's on my medical insurance, but the mother, who I want to bring her here, in other words, when it coming up, to able to go to the doctor with him and stuff like that, because I wanted to come up with him, because she don't have a visa.
Okay.
And I'm seeking to get that. So in this case, I just wanted to find out what the best way that I could go about doing that. And I know that right now in Barbados, it's shut down, and the embassy in Grenada only work with U.S. citizens only. So I'm in a kind of like, in a kind of predicament. I don't know which way to head.
Okay. All right.
So I guess she's your wife. Are you married?
Well, as I say,
kind of.
Sort of. We don't married, but you could say we married, but we in church.
All right. So here's the thing. So I wouldn't worry about what consular post is open and which one isn't, because at some point the consular posts are going to reopen. I've seen it when one post shuts down, they'll process applications at another post. For you to begin even having this conversation, my question to you is, are you planning on petitioning for her as a spouse? If the answer is no, then it sounds like she will need to approach one of the consular posts and see if she can get a visa to visit the United States in order to bring your child in for medical treatment.
Yeah, well, that's what my hope was, that if I was able to get her in to come up here, yes, I would have get married with her up here. So
let me stop you right there. Let me stop you. The only way to get her in, to marry her here, is with a fiance visa. So we can't use a B1, B2 to say I'm coming into the country to get married. You'd have to do a fiance visa and then get her in, and then you get married once she comes to the United States, and then you can do the adjustment status that we were talking about a little bit earlier. You can do that for her here.
Well, how long the fiesta visa take?
What state are you?
Florida.
You're in Florida. So it depends. We're in Florida. I know at the Tampa field office prior to COVID, for adjustment cases, we're at about 4 to 6 months. I imagine it's going to be a little bit longer now.
All right, caller.
Okay. All right.
But if you need additional information, then you could give him your number, and I'm sure he could reach out to you for additional.
Yeah, we'll post the number, and you can definitely reach out to us.
All right, caller. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, caller.
Definitely.
718-701-5720, guys. Call in and ask your question on the topic of green card, your I-30 petition, how you could get a family member to petition for you. Taking the next call. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from? Hello? All right.
I have one question here, Junior, in the chat. You want me to read that one?
Hold on 1 second. Let's just take
Give a
this
call. Oh, okay.
Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
Hi, Junior, New York.
Okay, New York. Go ahead, New York.
Okay, question for you. Sorry, I didn't get the name of the.
Deanna Winter Funday, or you could just call her Funday. It's Immigration Funday.
Funday. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. In terms of somebody coming here, okay, I've been here for the past, say, 14 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been married for the past, say, 5 years, but I do not have any documents.
Okay.
Right? So I'm asking, and the other thing, my spouse and myself are separated at the moment,
Okay.
but I have not filed any documents. What should I do in this situation?
So in your case, I would like to find out why in the course of 5 years, no petition was filed. That would be, I'm curious, can you say why that wasn't filed?
The first situation was that they were not eligible to file because of the finances.
Okay.
We weren't making enough.
So to answer your question, so not having enough money means you would have needed a co-sponsor. And now it sounds like you and your husband are separated.
Yeah.
Was there any evidence of abuse?
Well, sort of.
Well, if you're not comfortable, because I know this is a touchy area.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable, what I'm going to do is I'll give you a free 15-minute consultation where you and I can talk a little bit. You don't need to schedule a paid consult because these are areas that I know you probably don't want to talk about publicly, but you might have some options. My number is 813-815-3529. And Junior is going to post as well. So you just call that and you and I can have a conversation.
Yeah, because we do understand that in some situations, folks may not want to talk about all the details information. We understand. So you're going to speak to the lawyer, a free 50 minutes consultation, compliments Ridealong.
Yes, compliment of Ridealong.
All right. The number again, Fonde, give it a number.
813-815-3529.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for calling in. Make sure you call in and you and I can have a conversation.
I will, thanks.
You're most welcome.
Guys, again, we are live. We're taking a few more questions on the line. Oh, go ahead. Read the question that you have.
One person was asking, what if you have your green card before a crime was committed? Can they take the green card from you on arrival into the United States? What's my next move? The answer is yes, capital yes, small yes, big yes, yes in red, yes in blue, yes in black. Here's the thing. They can physically take that card from you at the border and place you in removal proceedings. What happens is, and this is like a little known fact. So you're going about your normal life. You got a green card when you were 16. You're now 28. At about age 23, you committed what we called a deportable offense.
Mm-hmm.
At the time and under certain administrations, it was a low priority event, meaning it was 30 grams or more of marijuana. You had that and you had a scale with it. That is called drug trafficking. At the time, you went to you went to your court hearing, you did everything on the criminal side, and you go about your business. What triggers deportation is travel. Whenever you have a green card and you leave the United States and you're coming back in, you are essentially knocking on the door of the United States and say, please let me back in. They're going to run your fingerprints. And if that crime comes up and it's a deportable offense, they can do a couple of things. They can take you straight to a detention center, depends on the crime, or they can put you in deferred action, meaning go get these police records, bring them back to us. It was so long ago. We want to see what it is. And then they can place you in deportation. They'll issue what we call a notice to appear. And then you have to go start the proceeding in immigration court. And that's a conversation for another day. But to answer your question, yes, yes, and yes, ICE will, Border Patrol will, and they will take your green card.
We got another call on the line. Caller, where you calling us from?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, New York. Go ahead with your question, Brooklyn.
Okay, I have a friend who went to Barbados, got his green card,
Okay.
and that was prior to he had an offense, went to court, was tried in Grenada.
Mm-hmm.
After that was done, remember I said he had his green card prior to this, so he came to the U.S. as a permanent resident. But when he got to the airport, they revoked the green card and deport him and said after 5 years he can reapply. But I'm trying to understand the fact that the matter was not committed in the U.S. Is it lawful to do something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As part of the process in when you go to a consular post, what they give you is not a green card. They give you a visa, a one-time visa to enter the United States. And this goes back to what I said earlier. Here you're asking to come into the United States. They're going to look at all your documentation and they can deny you entry. Depends on what they find in your application. That big envelope they give you when you leave the Caribbean is your immigration file. When you come to a port of entry, if you notice, you have to go into a different line, caller. That person goes to a different line. That's because they're going to open up that packet and make sure the consular post didn't miss something or overlook something. You are asking to enter. Border and Patrol, Custom and Border and Patrol can refuse your entry and they can turn you right around. They call it expedited removal. So they can turn you right around and send you back to the United States, send you back to your home country, excuse me.
Wow.
But is there we're not sure that there is a guarantee because they said, okay, you can apply after 5 years, but is there a guarantee that it would give it back to you after 5 years?
No, there's no guarantee. They can still find him or her inadmissible. It all depends on what the crime was. It all depends on what was presented at the consular post, meaning was the person really candid in their application? Were they candid with the police reports? So it all depends on what they find, what they found at the port of entry. When you're removed from the United States, they'll tell you 3 years, 10 years. There's no guarantee that when you go to reapply, they'll find that you're admissible after the duration of time.
Thank you.
All right, caller.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Guys, we have to wrap it up like about this time here, but don't worry, guys, we have next week. So if you have a question for the lawyer, we encourage you, or situation, we know some people have situations that they don't want to discuss on air, and we completely understand. Want you to give Deanna Winter-Funde a call. The number is Deanna Winter-Funde. The number is 813-815-3529. Give her a call and get your consultation. There are situations, unique situations that you cannot handle by yourself. We understand, there might be some child support, some child issues, some disputes, some different things that may not flow as smooth as just filling out an I-90, I-130 application. There's a lot of different things that need to go into it. So we ask to give her a call right now. We're gonna take one more call if we can. 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. And someone was messaging me earlier and was telling me that they're sending me a voice note. So I'm waiting for that voice note to come through. Any question there that you want to answer?
Let me see. I think I got all of those here.
Yeah.
If you got a green card, I think I caught all of those on the chat.
Okay. Someone wants to know what's the best time to call you. She is pretty efficient. You could call her anytime.
You can just ring the phone.
Ring the phone, give her a call. Keeps want to know that do they ask for DNA? I don't know if it's in regards to. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, in some cases they do. In regards to the paternal, in regards to paternity, in particular, where if they have any kind of doubt as to whether a parental relationship exists, they will ask for a paternity test. Particularly when the father's name is not on the birth certificate, definitely they'll ask for paternity. They'll ask for DNA.
We got one more call here. Caller, where are you calling us from?
It's me again. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Junior, question for you. I'm asking on behalf of somebody else.
Okay.
How long would you, like if you get married to somebody, right? And how long would you have to take before you could file the I-130? And if you file in Brooklyn, what other forms would you have to submit along with the I-30 when you file it for the green?
All right. So the short answer is you can walk out of your marriage today and file your application tomorrow. However, if you came into the country on a B1, B2 visa and you got married, wait 90 days before you submit your application because you're not supposed to come straight into the country, get married, and then submit. So wait about 90 days. On my website, I have a free adjustment of status pamphlet that lists all the documents you need to file with this petition. It's a lot of forms, a lot of documents, and that is located on my website at winterimmigration.com. winterimmigration.com. It has all the forms, all the documents you need.
Yeah, that's Winter Immigration. Let me put it up on the screen.
winterimmigration.com.
That's it right there. That's the website, winterimmigration.com. Check it out online. I think Wendy said she had a question. If you could get that last question in.
If you don't have a green card working as a nanny, your employer filed for you, how long is the process and would you have to go back home and wait even though you're working? So Wendy, it depends on if you entered the country lawfully. It depends how you entered.
Okay.
If you enter the country lawfully, the process for, again, this is an employment-based green card. They'll be sponsoring you. So the process might take a little bit of while. I'll have to look it up and see how long it takes for a nanny.
Okay.
To be sponsored by an employer.
I got the voice note. Let me just play back the quick voice note.
Sure.
This is the question via voice note.
Let's say, for instance, you came to New York. You have 6 months to stay, but your 6 months is almost over, and you can't travel back to your country as yet. I want to know what procedure you can take. So when you leave, say for instance you spend more than 6 months and you leave, how would you be able to come back? Somebody told me like there's a fee you could pay, so they could issue you like another 6 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Not clear in details, but you could give the.
Yeah, so this would be the extension of status. She can file the extension of status if you're about 7 days out from your I-94 getting ready to be expired.
Okay. All right. Great. Guys, listen, every Wednesday, that's where we are. So tell your friends, tell everybody. Every Wednesday, if they have immigration questions, they could call in right here and get their question answered. We're going to be dealing with a host of things as it relates to immigration. So for everyone who said we need to do more immigration program, Funde is here with us, and she will be assisting the community in ensuring that we have as much people armed with the information as possible so they could use the immigration and adjust their status. That's what this is all about. We want to make sure that hundreds of thousands of people take advantage of this opportunity, this free opportunity. That's why we are dedicating Wednesday to helping people with immigration issues. So guys, don't take this lightly. She's taking a lot out of her time, right? She charged for consultation. She's taking a whole hour plus out of her time to come and talk with us. So utilize this time very preciously, right? So invite your friends who missed it this week. Make sure, tell them don't miss it next week and the following week. Every Wednesday, that's where we're going to be. Any last word? Any last word for us, Funde?
So I just want to thank everybody who participated, and I am not Miss Know-It-All. So I love the comments in the side where people are saying, yes, try this, do that. I think it is important as a community that we share our stories. Don't keep the story bundled up to ourselves. If you know that you went through a process and you experienced this, I think it's incumbent, especially if now you're a citizen and you've gone through the whole process. I think it's incumbent upon you in sharing your story within the community. It might be doing a talk at church, or it might be telling somebody, hey, don't go over here, do it this way. So I want to give like a thank you to all those people in the chat that was posting comments and tips, because that's what matters. Because when I'm talking, remember that I'm kind of condensing what I'm saying. So those little chats in the side really help. So I want to thank you to everybody out there that tuned in, and whatever we can do to help, Junior and I, we're going to help our community. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. Remember, if your friends miss this week's program, they could join us next week, all right, to get all the immigration question answered right here on the program. This program is sponsored by the lawyer there herself. She's doing a great job and she wants to help the community. That's what I'm talking about, people in the community. She's involved in the community. So whenever someone calls you and they tell you they need a lawyer, immigration lawyer, you know who to point them to, because she's dedicating her time to ensure that this information gets out. All right? Thank you so much. Leon, little sis, we'll keep in touch, okay? We'll keep in touch. All right. Guys, this is Ridealong Live. Don't forget, join us tomorrow. On a new edition of Ridealong, we have my new co-host, she is going to be Natasha Wilson. She's going to be joining us from tomorrow on Ridealong Live. And tomorrow is Dear Rider. So you might have situation and questions and comments, whatever you want to discuss tomorrow is all about you. So you can write us, send us your information, Dear Rider, and we'll talk about it tomorrow with my new co-host, Natasha Wilson. She'll be right here on the ride. Catch you guys again tomorrow. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
Hey, did you know that the census is